Hey, it's Rich, the Louisiana Hobby Guy. Today I'm doing a video on something that I did about 2 years ago when we first built this shop. My son he's an electrician, he did all of the wiring in here, and we wound up with like 24 outlets and 4 switches, I think, and we needed covers for them. So I ran over to Lowe's and I started looking around. They have the little 94-cent plastic covers that crack as soon as you put the screw in, which is not something that I wanted to have in here. I wanted something made from wood. So I looked at the wood covers, and it was just a really thin piece of oak and no design on it whatsoever, just regular unfinished oak. And I looked at the price and I went into shock. $14.95 I think it was for one cover. And I said to myself, no, I'm not going to spend that kind of money, because I was thinking I wanted to get something that I would engrave, you know. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to do this myself. So I came back here to the shop. I sat down at Lightburn. I took a photograph of a cover, tried to get it as level as I could, and I started designing from there. And 5 or 6 prototypes later, I was always off by like a ½ millimeter or something like that, but I finally got them down to where they fit absolutely perfectly on both the outlets and the wall switches. And today I'm going to share with you those files. So there'll be a link down below the video. You can download a zip package. I'll have the art library in there for you, as well as the SVG files and a couple little decorations to decorate them with as well. And I incorporated these with my edge corners that I do for doors, you know, the edge designs for the corner of the door. And I came up with some really interesting designs. So let's jump into Lightburn real quick. Let me show you a few of the different things. I'll actually run a light switch cover and an outlet cover for you, and we'll talk about material and things like that. Okay, so here we are in Lightburn, and if you're new to any of this, to laser engraving, or maybe you haven't watched a whole lot of my videos yet, I'm going to cover a bunch of tips and tricks as we go here as well. So over here in the bottom right, you'll see this is the library that you're going to get, called Outlet Covers. And I'm also going to be packaging this up as SVG files in case you don't use Lightburn. And in here you'll see here is a blank, so that's just the outer part of the cover. Then I also have the blank over here, which is for the rocker switches. And then I've got the actual outlet itself, all by itself. And I've got the switch all by itself. And I've thrown in a few decor items here to help you decorate your light switches, your light switch covers, excuse me. So we're going to get started here. I'm going to show you first off how to weld things together, and it's really very, very simple. If you look here, you'll see I've got, let me put this into fill so you can see it better. So these are a few of the switches that I've already tested and made myself. I can give you an idea. Let me show you the actual switches themselves. So this is the on-off in yellow. And I'm creating a library for this new Mirror 5 Redline series that I got, this RF. So that's why I'm doing this. And there is my name on a switch. You see I've divoted this part a little bit here, just like it is on the regular wall switches. And this is like maybe for a child's room, a spaceman welded to the actual plate itself. So these come out really, really nice. And I'm still dialing in those settings, so it's not perfect yet, but you're gonna have to dial in your own settings. Now you can do this on anything. So in my shop next door, I did the original ones on wood that I've got over there, and now while I'm building this library for the Mirror 5, the RF laser, I figured I would, you know, do some acrylic and also some grate carve. Now this is grate carve. It is a material that comes from China, and It's an acrylic material. It's 2 millimeters thick. It's not a solid acrylic like you'd be used to, you know, with these over here. You know, it's not solid. It's 2 millimeters thick, and it's sort of flexible, but it still works really, really well. So you can do them on acrylic. You can do it on Great Carve. An alternative to Great Carve is Rowmark. So you can get that at jpplus.com, and that gives you a couple different colors. So you've got the outer color. Today I'm going to use stainless. You see I have that stainless loaded over on the laser, and that's going to, the part that you engrave is going to turn black. That's the center core is black, and the top is going to remain stainless. So I think that's going to turn out really nice. I haven't actually done anything on that yet, except for a couple of tests, and just to get an idea of how quickly I can go on the black. So let me show you how you can take any graphic now and weld it to these templates. And let me show you that really quickly, because you'd probably be interested in that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, actually I should do it right straight, everything from the library here. So I'm going to take a blank and bring that out. So there is my blank. And what I want to do is create this gator switch over here that I did there. So I'll come up to my animals, and there's my gator. I'll double click that, shrink this down to about the size that I want, which I think that is about good right there. Let me see, maybe a little bit smaller, and get it to right about there. Looks good. So now if I hold shift and drag over this one, drag from right to left, they're both selected. Come up to the top here, I'll just align that to the middle so that we know it's in the middle. And now what we're going to do is weld this gator to this switch cover. So we're going to select the gator itself. Going to come over here to the offset on the left side. Going to hit offset on there, and anything from 0 to about 0.4 works well. I like the 0.2, and so I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to do outer shapes only. Select resulting objects. This one's important. I'm going to do round so that it matches the curves, and we're going to do outward, and that's all we have to do, and say OK. So now we have that outer line that goes all the way around. The next thing that we're going to do is come down to the color palette and put that on the red layer, and you see it's still selected. So now with that one selected, I'm going to hold down shift on my keyboard. I'm going to drag from right to left to select the outer box like that. And the only thing that I'm going to do now is come over here to the Boolean assistant, and I'm going to do a union of two shapes, A and B. This one right here, second one down. And that's it. So that's already done. To see, we can drag this one off, and you'll see that there is the perfect shape going all the way around. So there we go. That's just how easy this is to do. And then if we come back over to the outlet covers right here, the only thing we need to do next is figure out which it's going to be, either the outlet or the switch. Typically you're not going to do any designer stuff on the outlets, just maybe some decoration, so we'll bring in the switch. So now we've got the switch there, it's selected. If we hold down shift and select this one here, what we want to do is align it to the middle like that. Now we probably should have done this one first because it's not exactly in the middle, but that looks pretty good right there. Voila, we're finished, and this one's ready to run right now. So that's how easy it is to weld shapes like you see over here onto any of these outlet switches. Now I did make these a little bit wider because of all the graphics, and that's something that's really easy to do. If you just hold Control and drag out from the middle, you can make it wider. Now you don't want to do this once you've already welded that graphic up there, so we don't want to do it that way, but you want to do that when you just have the blank itself. So we take the original blank, and if we wanted to make it wider, or if we wanted to make it a 2-gang switch, you know, that's what we would do. We would widen it up from here. So that's done. That's how quick and easy this is to add shapes to our different switches. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is actually going to design 2 of these and run these off. So I've already brought in the switch here, and that's all selected and it's grouped together. And then the other thing that we've got here is this one. So before I even do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these 3, and I'm just going to right click on those and click cut. So when you click cut, it automatically copies it so that we can repaste it in a moment. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to group these up together now. So we're going to group this. We're going to make sure that this one is all grouped, which it is. Now I want to align these. So I'm just going to drag over both of these like that. I'm going to come up here to arrange. I'm going to come down to distribute, and we're going to move these horizontally together. And there we go. Now they're perfectly aligned, and one is off just a bit, so I got to come up here to the top and get it perfectly aligned. Now the reason that I'm doing this is because I don't want this center line to cut twice. So when they're docked up against each other like this, it will only cut this one time. And the way that you can make sure that that's going to happen is over here on the laser tab. You're going to go to your optimization settings, and you're going to make sure right here where it says remove overlapping lines, make sure that that one is turned on. In fact, make sure this one's turned on as well. Cut inner shapes first. So those 2 are very important to this job. So I'm going to say OK to that. Now I can right click on the screen and paste this back in place. So there we go. So I've got that, and that needs to be grouped. So I'm going to go ahead and group it. I'm going to get it right to the center of this one. So I'll hit the bullseye like that. And now it's perfectly centered. And we're ready to run this particular one over here, but not quite yet, because I'm going to show you something a little bit different in just a moment. So for the light switch, I think I'm going to use this one right here. I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to press Control and the letter D to duplicate it. And then I'm going to take this duplicate. I'm going to hold down Shift, grab this one right here, and hit bullseye to get that right in the middle. So now that is looking good. So there is our little graphic design. And I think maybe one more thing, I do want to add a little bit of flavor to this light switch part here. So I'm going to select this one down here. I'm going to press again Control and the letter D to duplicate. Then I'm going to come back up here to the red, select that one right there, and bullseye one more time. And now we've got our graphics all over that light switch. It's going to make it look real nice. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that when we run this job that we're going to scan left and right the entire 2 sides of this. And if you take a look right now, let me turn that off for a second. Let's go ahead and select that and take a preview. And here's our preview. So now if we watch this preview, you see what's happening here? It is not, every one of these is a separate shape. And it's going to do every one of these separately. And this is going to take a long time. So we're looking at 8.5 minutes start to finish. But there is something that we can do. We also want to make sure on the layers, cuts and layers, if we double click this layer, we want to fill all shapes at one time. Okay? So now, how do we fix that? We take and select this black over here, which selects everything black on that layer. We hold Shift, select that black right there, hold Shift, select this black right here. Now we have all of the black layers selected. If I didn't have all of these other things on here, I could just hold down Shift and click on the black layer to get them all at once, but we had to do it differently. Now if we group these together, Let's take another preview, and you'll see that the time was cut in half. So now it's down to 4 minutes 32 seconds. So you'll see that it's going to do everything in one pass, where earlier it would scan each one of these individually, and it took up twice the power here. So I mean twice the time, excuse me. So we went from 8 minutes and change to 4.5 minutes, and that's a good thing. Now the only thing I've got left to do at this point is my settings. So what I've done here, I've done some testing on this, and I've set my speed for this engraving to 2,000 millimeters per second for this product, and that would be the equivalent of 120,000 millimeters per minute, something like that. And I've set my maximum power at 40. This is a 40 watt RF CO2. And I've got my minimum power at 12, and I've set this to 450 lines per inch. The spot size on the RF2 is much smaller than a regular CO2. It's about 1/3 the size, so I had to raise the lines per inch to compensate for that. On the cut layer, this is 2 millimeter. This is the 2 millimeter Great Carve, and I set the speed to 65 millimeters per second, the max power to 45, and the min power to 12. The min power is for the cornering. As the laser slows down on a CO2, it's going to burn hotter, so I lowered my min power on the corners to 12. Now I did set this to 2 passes, and the reason for that is I'm trying to keep from discoloring the acrylic as it makes the cut. I think my regular, so this is 65-45, and my regular setting for the Great Carve over here was 35-45, 1 pass. But I've changed this to 2 because I want to try and lower the discoloring on this. And I think that's it. So we've got everything set. Everything is selected. I am using cut selected graphics because I've got all of these graphics all the way around the outside on the Rowmark controller. It'll recognize those, so we don't want to do that. So we're ready. I've got my my stainless look on the laser. I've got the grain running up and down, which I think is going to look best, and I am ready to get started. So we'll go ahead and turn on the laser and let it do its thing. I've already done some testing on this, so it's already focused. We don't have to worry about that. And the only thing else I have to do is turn on my fume extraction. Now this stuff is stinky, so if you don't have really good fume extraction, you really don't want to be smelling this. I'm sure that there are some really bad VOCs that are going to come from this. So we'll give that a chance to stabilize right there. And I think the only thing I want to do is just quickly frame it. And it looks like I got the perfect spot. And we're ready to run this job, I believe. Check my cuts and layers. The red is on bottom. Let's go ahead and run this job. And there we go. I'm not sure yet if I want to speed this up or not. This is a pretty fast laser, so this shouldn't take too long.
Step right up, come see the show. It's Louisiana hobby guy ready to go. Fast forward, ain't no delay. From the heart of the bayou straight to your place. In the shop with the laser on high. You can see the sparkle in his eye. Cutting wood so fast, it's almost a blur. Whirling through projects with a lively stir. Fast forward, y'all, Cajun beat. Clapping our hands, tapping our feet. From gumbo pots to jambalaya, it's a feast.
Okay, so we're back in real time. I did decide to speed that up a little bit just to save a little bit of time. Actual time right now on the Ruida controller is, it's 5 minutes and 14 seconds right now. So the prediction in Lightburn was a little bit off. See how it skipped that middle one? And there we go. Let's take a look. Okay, so it came out pretty good. There's a little bit of dirt on the edges that needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Still don't quite have that cut dialed in, but I've got some NOVUS #1, some polish for acrylic that I'm going to use and clean up those edges to make them perfect. But in the meanwhile, let me switch to a different camera and show you how this came out. So there is one. See those edges? I'll clean up with the NOVUS. That's just the black from the inside. And here is #2. There is #2. So looking really good with just a little bit of cleanup with the NOVUS. It's going to come out perfect, and I think these look really great. Now again, these are not solid. You can bend them a little bit, but they're still going to work perfectly. These came out absolutely great. I think this is going to be a great addition to anyone's house or shop or whatever it is that you might want to do. So now I've got these two, and I did this one for a child's room. So this is a Spaceman, and this is a bigger one. This is regular acrylic, 3mm acrylic. This is also 3mm acrylic. I don't particularly like the font, which is why I changed it. And then I've got this one here, which you really can't see on this camera very well. On camera it doesn't look great, but there you go. So that looks a lot more like what it looks like in person right there. So just a little bit of cleanup and these are going to be perfect. I really like these. I like the wood ones that I've got in the shop next door. Those have been in there for about 2 years. I thought that you guys would enjoy doing this today as well. So you can get, let's go back to Lightburn real quickly and I'll show you some of the things that I used here. So I did up here in my accents, I brought a couple of these accents in the corners, and then in the animals you can, you know, pick and choose whatever animals that you want to weld to these over here. And then of course back to the outlet covers, I put in a couple of graphics in here, a couple of decoration graphics, and this should give you a good start. You can use any graphics that you can get off of the internet. I've got my edge corners are in my online store, engraveandcutfiles.com. There'll be a link down below to that. These are going to be free for you to download today. So I hope you enjoyed this quick video today. I know it's never quick, but and I hope that you make some of these for yourself. These came out really great. So I'll put a link to everything that I talked about today. I'm really liking this one. This one looks really classy. I'll put a link down below to Great Carve. I'll put a link to Johnson Plastic Plus, jpp.com. if you want to look at some Rowmark over there. You can get that in 2 or 3 colors and make some really nice designs for your light switch covers. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video today as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And as always, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Down in Louisiana, where the bayou gleams, the hobby guys engraving with laser beams, with a Cajun